All right. Well, welcome back, everyone, to Talk 122 with your superintendent, Dr. Terrell Yarbrough. This episode is going to be on mindfulness and wellness. I'm really excited about this one and for the individuals that we have that will be talking today. And so first up, it's a gentleman that really needs no introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. Mr. Kevin Polky, Harlem grad, you do a lot of work, with us, within the community, surrounding community. So if you wouldn't mind telling everybody about yourself, a little bit, your background, and we kind of just go from there.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me on the show, for sure. And I'm really glad to see that we're doing this and started that out. I know you guys have historically have always done a lot of different things to kind of reach out and find different ways of reaching out to the students as well as in the community. This goes back for me. 1986 is when I graduated from high school, and then went away to school and did graduate work, and then I came back to Harlem in 94 to do my internship, and then got hired when my internship was over, and I started working as a school social worker, and then worked as a football coach and strength and conditioning coach during the 90s all the way up till 2001. Okay. And that's when I opened up and started KP Counseling, and that's what I primarily do now is clinical social work. I'm an addiction counselor as well, and so KP is essentially, it's an outpatient behavioral health counseling agency. We have 34 therapists at 2 different locations. We do services in the schools as well as outpatient counseling. Okay. And we do everything from addiction to marriage and family to just traditional working with depression, anxiety, transition, grief, trauma, trying to help with those types of services. Just a lot of it with transition, and there's been a ton with the pandemic and with COVID and all the fears and all the aspects of trying to adjust with that. So yeah, that's been a big part of what I've been doing, and just working a lot with leadership development now. Okay. With my therapist there, and then out in the community as well.
Okay. No, and thank you for that. And wow, 80s, huh?
Yeah.
That's an awesome time. I'm a 90s baby myself.
Okay.
But that's cool. And so just being a Harlem grad and coming back, right? And specifically when we're talking about, the pandemic and all the things that everyone is working through and trying to gain a footing in. Have you seen an increase in the number of people that you've been working with during the pandemic as opposed to the pandemic, or pretty much the same? Or can you talk a little bit about that?
I think it's, one, the research is showing, the CDC's come out with some statistics, and they have seen and been tracking that there's been an increase, about a 3% increase in individuals who are sharing from the summer of 2020 till the spring of 21. They were seeing a 3 to 5% increase in people identifying depressive and anxiety symptoms that they weren't having prior to that. Okay. I would say that's probably increased since then if they were tracking that now. And I think part of the reason is as people were starting to come out of the pandemic, meaning things were starting to open up, then another host of fears were coming up as a result of that. And people have not been in the same social settings in the last 18 months. Right. And as we're doing that brings up some things that we're out of practice. I think another piece in our culture right now is, who do I believe? What's truth? Okay. There's a lot of uncertainty with that. It seems like there's a lot of mistrust going on, a little hypervigilance regarding our own safety and what should we do with that. And then the opposite of going, I don't believe anything and I don't want to do anything, to social distance or masks and stuff. So I think all that has been playing into what I've been seeing more in our office with our therapists, and a lot of parents concerned about their students coming in, and a lot of educators reaching out to us and having concerns about the students as staff since school started this year.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. And for those that don't know it, it's truly a blessing to have you, with us today and to give us your perspective on things. And this is like some free advice we're getting here. So I'm loving this. So if there's any words of advice that you have for people right now that obviously, working through the pandemic and things like that, what would it be?
So I think one of the things that I utilize myself and with some of the research I've been doing is around the idea of the stress cycle, things that I perceive as a threat, and how do I respond to that? And so for example, if there's a threat that I can actually do something physically to either resist it or I can run away from it or whatever, then my body burns up those chemicals that I've used. But a lot of times the threats that we happen are emotional or mental or what could happen. So we don't want to be seen as foolish, so we don't do anything physically. We suppress those emotions, but the chemicals are still there. And so some of the research and some of the work that we're doing right now is how do you complete that stress cycle? So my morning routine is of working out and doing some meditation and doing certain exercises in the morning. And on a normal day, I would just check that off and I'm done for the day. I go to work and I'm done. But on certain days when I'm extra stressed, extra things going on, I come home and I do not necessarily an extra workout, but I make sure I do some activity, or I intentionally, with my wife, spend time watching a comedian or something to complete that stress cycle by burning up some of those chemicals. And because what I don't want to do is I don't want to have that stuff suppressed inside, and then some little thing happens, and then something comes out sideways, or I'm not being who I want to be, and I'm being a little bit less tolerant than I want to be. So I would say that is recognize that these are stressful times, and what am I doing for my own self-care to manage? I can't eliminate the stressors. What can I do to manage the stress as it comes uniquely to me?
So there's two things you just said there that really piqued my interest. One of them is your workout regimen, right? For those that know me, I'm a huge Kobe fan, and his workout regimen is legendary, right? So how early do you get up to work out?
So typically, my goal is to get out of bed. The alarm goes off at 5 a.m. And I'm usually, because since the pandemic's hit, for the first time since I was in middle school, I'm working out at home. And so I decided to not sign up for my membership, invest that money, and I have a home gym now. And so I get up at 5. I'm usually in the workout area by quarter after 5:20. I do I ride a bike, stationary bike, for 20 to 30 minutes, and then I go into my workout based upon the day of the week, my scheduled workout. It's lifting weights and full body workout as well as lifting weights, but it's more high intensity versus powerlifting and bodybuilding movements like I used to do.
Gotcha. So you don't just hit, when the alarm goes off, you don't hit that snooze button again. You're up.
Well, on good days, I don't hit the snooze button.
Right.
But the reality, if I hit the snooze button, then that's going to crunch me somewhere else. So I got to make sure that I'm being intentional, because if it's a workout set up that day, I need to listen to my body and make sure I get it. Now, if I'm not feeling good, all right, I may need to sleep, but I need to be honest with myself, which is sometimes hard to do at 5 a.m. But if I just get my feet on the ground, if I just stand up, if I just get moving, my body will tell me if I need to go back to bed or if that's just me playing games trying to avoid something.
Gotcha. I can't remember if this was from you or not, but I remember being in a session that you did at Harlem High School. And it was some teachers, as well as myself there. And it was something about making sure that when you wake up in the morning, you make your bed. And how important it is to, if you do anything, just make your bed. And so I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that's awesome. And then setting the stage for our next guest as well. You mentioned self-care, right? I'm a huge proponent, for self-care, but I feel like just the term has gotten like a little bit of negativity surrounding it when you say self-care. So when you say self-care, what does that mean to you?
So a couple things with self-care, right? So self-care is, for me, looking at what am I doing to take care of Kevin, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that aspect is, what am I intentionally making a plan to do? Because if I don't make a plan to do what's happening, something's going to come in and distract me. Someone's going to take me off of my focal point of taking care of me. And some of it may be good things, or I perceive as good things at the time. But again, it may not help me toward that goal of overall wellness and that self-care. So intention's one, having a plan, being intentional about what that plan is in all areas of my life. And then the other one is having discipline to follow through with the plan that I created.
Awesome. Yes.
Because it's saying no to those certain things so that I can say yes to the things that are going to help me get to the goal that I want. There's nothing easy about a self-care. I mean, even if taking time off to relax, that's not easy for some of us to do because we have old tapes that say we have to be productive. We have to continue to produce. So I don't think there's anything easy about self-care. It's not just about kicking your feet up and relaxing. It's about being intentional about what is it that you need to accomplish so that you can be most efficient, have the greatest amount of energy, so that you can then get the greatest amount of rest, so that the greatest amount of energy, so that you can help other people.
Perfect. No, I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate you sharing your expertise with the audience, and for your continued support of the Harlem School District and everything that you do out in the community. So one last thing, if it's up to you, totally up to you. One thing that we introduced in this podcast last time is if you want to take a shot on the ESPN.
All right.
And
all right.
If not, it's up to you.
I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
Fullback, inside linebacker, wrestler. This is about as much basketball as I did when I was in school too.
All right. Let's see here. Let's see.
We've got to line it up here.
Yep. Oh, well, hey.
See, that's what happens when you try too hard. You think it's like a combat sport or something.
That's okay. Can you imagine just waiting for you to take that shot in anticipation, but it was good. But thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, take care, sir. All right. Well, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. It's definitely an honor to have you on.
Oh my goodness.
We work so closely as far as vicinity, together, and I see you every day, and I'm always impressed with how happy you seem to be, right? And just bubbly and in my opinion, looking out for our well-being and making sure that we're okay, as people, specifically within your role. So for those that don't know you in the audience, can you just tell them, first of all, your name and then your role within the Harlem School District?
Sure, yeah. Diana Disch, I'm the wellness coordinator for our Harlem School District.
Okay.
I work with all staff with regards to their personal wellness, covering both not financial, I'm sorry, that's like one of the items,
okay.
But
finances is
yes, it's huge. Yeah, that's part of it too.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but what I meant to say was basically it covers most and foremost the nutritional, the physical, the emotional piece of our well-being, stress management reduction, and also financial is part of it too. Okay, absolutely.
So for a guy who just recently stepped on a scale and didn't like his results, right? Like what advice would you give me, right, in order to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, right?
Absolutely.
And with everything that you had said. So.
Yeah, the scale doesn't tell all.
Okay.
So there's also non-scale victories that we have to pay attention to too. The scale is one piece of it, no doubt. Mm-hmm. But when we think about how our clothes may fit, the scale doesn't tell that. How our rings may feel and how tight or loose they are on our fingers, how our clothes fit, mentally, how we feel, because a lot of what we consume in terms of food or how we take care of ourselves, there's a mental piece of it as well that you can't see on the scale. So there's different aspects of it, and from that perspective, it's finding a way to be consistent with a habit that's going to get you to your goal. Okay. And also in that journey is allowing grace to know that not every day is going to be good. Absolutely.
Love it.
We have to allow that because the failures are always what we're afraid of. Okay. But we have to be able to learn to accept and embrace the failures because that's what's going to help us succeed. That's what we learn from.
Okay. No, that's awesome advice and made me just feel a whole lot better with just that piece right there. Yeah. So being our health and wellness coordinator, right? What's your vision for just the growth of your area, right? And then even how that works with Harlem. Like
Absolutely.
What's your vision?
My vision basically is being able to, I'm going to take a step back on this one with what I want to say. For us to realize, for staff, any individuals to realize what their true potential is,
Okay.
Because our challenge is always ourselves. We are our own worst critic in everything that we do. It can even go to the extreme of, I just can't do it because of the fears of what may be uncomfortable. I haven't tried this. I've tried this, I've failed, and I won't ever be able to succeed.
Okay.
You know, so to be able to overcome that, and even if it's one habit at a time, to figure out what's going to work, and it's different for every single person, to be able to feel better mentally if it's a mental goal, physically, nutritionally, just feeling good about ourselves and focusing on the positive instead of the negative, and being able to, from that perspective, when we feel better, we're able to help everybody else around us, whether it's our students or our families, our own families, and bringing that positivity back into those areas to be able to help somebody else succeed in their goals and their journeys.
That's awesome. No, it's unpacking everything that you just said. I think would take like hours, because it was just so it was so beautifully said. Especially when you're talking about just taking care of yourself, right? I think that specifically in this time, it's been difficult to do that, right? Like the feeling is like I just got to go, right? And doing things that doesn't necessarily translate into what you want to do, right? And we all have, you know, our different roles, right? Like we're parents, we're educators, we're all these things, and sometimes we forget that we're also like I'm Terrell, right? like I need to figure out like what do I need in order to set the stage so that I'm helpful to others, right? Myself first, and then that I'm helpful for others as well. So that's awesome. So, in all the time I've known you, I've just always caring and always seem to be able to say just the right thing at that moment. So here's a couple of curveballs for you here, right? So obviously you've been here for how many years?
4 years.
4 years, and you've done a number of things for staff as far as, you know, wellness and things like that. What was your favorite thing that, you know, session thing you set up, anything that you did for staff to, you know, around wellness?
Oh my goodness, the Husky Hustle.
Okay, Husky Hustle. Okay, so explain that a little bit.
So that we annually, there was the Husky Hustle was every May. There was a weekend in May where we identified that time to have a 5K, but it also gave the option. It's a 5K run, or walk. It also gave we also gave the option to do a 1 mile walk or run. Okay. And there was also with that, unfortunately, COVID has affected our ability to provide that as an option. So I'm hoping, that we'll get back to that one day. Okay. But we offered that. It was a private event that we offered to all our staff, our students, and their families. Okay. So it really was very engaging because on the elementary level side, the buildings all had their own race groups that the students would sign up for to participate. Okay. And to see that the amount of students we had out there participate in the 5K run, and we had medals for the top 3 finishers in each age group. It was very engaging because the teachers also volunteered their time to help with these students in these race groups or run groups that they had, the students that signed up for. And it's a proud moment because running 1 mile is not easy. Right. So these kids are out there running a 3.1 mile race, and it's quite an accomplishment, whether you run or walk it. So we had staff from all different buildings and departments that were in there that were participating, and it's the 3 years that I was here, we did that. The numbers increased every year for participation. Awesome. Yeah, so it was a really good event because it brought a lot of people out.
Okay. Well, I hope we can bring it back, because just me asking the question, you know, I didn't participate in it, so I need to. So as soon as, hopefully we can do that this year and near future, and then I can be a part of that. So here's some rapid fire questions right now, right?
I'll try.
Okay. So you mentioned that, you know, the run. Favorite team that participated in the run. Your favorite team.
My favorite team in regards to our.
Who participated in the hustle?
Oh boy, everybody! I don't have a favorite in that one.
Just putting you on the spot
Okay,
there.
yeah,
okay,
you are.
All right, so we can pass on that. For those that also know you too, you love your kids.
I do.
You love them, right? So
Oh, they're amazing.
favorite one.
You're
on camera now, so
I know. Sam and Liv and Sam.
That's good. That's good.
That's the only time I look in the camera.
Hey, that's okay. That's all right. That's well placed. I like that. And then last question I have for you is, obviously you spend a lot of your time, obviously here at HAC and working at the administration center and things like that. Is there anything that you want to say to all of us as far as, obviously taking care of ourselves, one bit of advice for us?
Allow yourself some grace. These are hard times.
Okay.
It's even harder than it was before COVID came around.
Okay.
So allow yourself some grace, but find your way back. And
Okay.
if you need help, ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that.
Gotcha.
I found myself there before too. And it's just having that mindset to know that you're strong, can work through it. And if you need to buddy up with somebody, no matter what journey that is,
Okay.
it's okay.
All right.
It's okay.
I appreciate your time, and now it's up to you whether you want to try to make the shot.
Truth be known, I've never played sports.
Okay. and Kevin missed it, so I mean, the bar is low.
Okay.
We love Kevin, but yeah.
Absolutely. Let's see. I don't know what aim I have on this one.
Yeah, it's close. It
see?
was there.
I think it was closer.
Yes, it was closer. So again, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Just having grace, right?
Yes.
That's powerful, and I think not only for obviously the individuals you work with at HAC, but also within our district and within our community, just allowing that grace.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, and finally we get Mr. Reineke on the podcast. I've been excited to get you on. Nothing but positivity from staff, from students, from other administrators about just how you seem to have a balance, with how you handle and work through things, right? Like you got this calmness, about you. So being on an episode about mindfulness and taking care of yourself, and like the last person, self-care. Can't wait to see what you have to share with the community. So if you don't mind, just tell us people about yourself a little bit, what you want to share, and we kind of go from there.
Perfect. Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here. So thank you, and I really appreciate you doing this, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. That means a lot to me. Secondly, in being mindful, I appreciate your kind words too. Like that means a lot, and you can only see me blushing through part of my face right now because of the mask. So
I've got the same type of mask too. I like that.
So I'm Ryan Reinecke. I'm the principal at Rock Cut. Very proud of what we do at Rock Cut. For me, it's all about balance. It's about sort of accepting where we are, yet knowing that we have areas to improve upon. So, we're always kind of pushing forward and meeting people where they're at, but gently nudging them to be better versions of their own selves.
Okay, and I like what you said there when you say, just a better, like a version of themselves, right? And that's the goal, to continue to grow, right? And so when you think of mindfulness and just what that means, when you're talking to your staff about it, right, and you're explaining why it's important, to practice mindfulness and things like that, what are some of your techniques that you've used?
Sure. So we, in terms of technique, I guess it starts with understanding what mindfulness is. So mindfulness is, for me, it's about being present in the moment, and it's also about acceptance. And along with acceptance comes non-judgment.
Okay.
Right? So it's not about ever not experiencing emotions, like kind of what Kevin was talking about. If you suppress your feelings and try to be like, oh, that's not happening, then it comes out sideways.
Okay.
But if you accept, like right now I'm coming on this, you're my boss. I'm feeling nervous. I want to do well. I want to look good for your audience, for our audience, and make sure that everything goes well, and I speak clearly. And there's some nervousness that comes along with that. So it's not about trying to not be nervous necessarily. It's being aware that I'm nervous, accepting that I'm nervous, and now what do I do with that information, right? And non-judgmentally. It's not bad to be nervous. It's not good to be nervous. It just is what I'm feeling. And similarly, some communication with our staff then is this year has seemed stressful for people. And for various reasons. I can't talk to all of the reasons why people might feel stressed. There might be fear. There might be just anxiety. There might be that they were socially isolated. There could be lots of reasons that I can't even think of for people to feel stressed. And it's not about, hey, don't feel stressed, because stressed is bad. You're stressed. All right. What do we do with that? What is it saying to you? Why do you think you're stressed? What is it about that stress that that bothers you, or that, what is it, just what is it? And being really curious about it. And accepting that exactly for what it is. And by doing so, it's been my personal experience that by acknowledging and then accepting and being non-judgmental about my own emotions, they tend to kind of dissipate away on their own. And so you're talking about some of my colleagues have told me as well that, you stay calm, you seem pretty level-headed, things like that. I think it's probably because of that. It's just, I feel all the same things you're feeling, and I feel all of that same stuff, but I don't try to do anything with it. It's just here.
And so, and that's interesting as you said that, because I'm a huge Marvel fan, right? And I remember one of the movies, and I don't know if it was Endgame or one of them, where the Hulk, right? They had told him, they said, okay, we need you to get angry so you can turn into the Hulk. And he said, I'm always angry. And he just instantly turned into the Hulk, right? He didn't need nothing else. He didn't need nobody to hit him or anything like that. He just instantly turned into the Hulk. And so for you, what is your go-to mindful type of activity, right? For me, I use the Calm app. I love the Calm app. Apple Watch. I love the breathing technique. What's your go-to?
So I do a couple different things. One is I always return my attention to my breath. And I do that for a particular reason. It's a reminder that breath is my life force, right? I'm taking in life and I'm expelling the negative or what I don't need anymore. So it's like a constant reminder to be accepting of and take in this moment right now, be aware of this moment, and to be grateful for this moment. And the other is sort of a form of meditation, because I'm very much on the practical side, I do set aside time to meditate, but it's also important for me, I want to be present and be the best leader that I can. So when I'm showing up on a daily basis, I want to be the best that I can be. And the only way for me to do that is to be really present. And so if I feel those emotions kind of ramping up and I'm being called to, there's a radio call for one thing and I'm on my way to help a student and then I get stopped by another student, I bring my awareness to my feet. And I just feel each step that I'm taking. And that helps me be physically grounded in the moment. But then it's bringing that awareness to the sensation that I'm right here. I'm now. I'm not thinking about anything except exactly where I am. So it's sort of a walking meditation.
That's awesome. So let me ask you one question that may get you out of your calmness that you're so very well known for. So how long have you worked in Harlem School District?
Let's see. I think this is my 7th year.
7th year?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've met a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
right?
For sure.
So who's your favorite employee that works in the district?
Oh geez.
Now be mindful.
Yeah.
Now. A lot of people could be watching this, and not necessarily work for you, but just someone that works in the district. Your favorite person.
Oh man.
And I hope you know where I'm hoping you say this name, because if you don't, then I'm worried about you.
Uh-oh.
I'm really worried about you. think
Well-
she birthed you.
Oh, geez.
I'm trying to help you here.
You are, and I was not picking up on it. Clearly, my favorite person in the district is my mom,
There
who
you
works
go.
at McChesney.
All right, Woo, moms, we love moms. That was close.
Sorry, Mom. Jeez. Talk about red.
Well, Ryan, we really appreciate you being on and sharing with us your words of wisdom and mindfulness and just being such a positive, influence for our kids, for our staff, other administrators. We really appreciate that. Now, here's the ESPN shot where some people have made it, some people have not. You want to take your chance at it? Here you go.
Now, I got to say, I'm nervous about this,
Okay.
but I have been watching. So I watched Kevin pull it way back, all those
Okay.
muscles, and then Diana was pretty close. So
Okay, all right.
I'm wondering how much play there is side to side.
There you go.
Yes!
Somebody
Yes!
made it. I love it. Well, appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you very much
Yep.
for having me.
Yep, take
It was
care.
an honor.
All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm excited to have you on and to just touch base with you a little bit about, like who you are, obviously, and what your role is in the district, and then ask you like a few questions around mindfulness and things that you may or may not be able to back up, about Mr. Reineke and what he shared, right? And so let's start very informally with, just let the audience know, who you are, obviously in what you do, your role in the district.
Well, thanks for having me. But so my name is Brenda Estrada. I am the 4th grade HOLA teacher at Rock Cut.
Yeah.
So I'm going for my 4th year now there. So
Okay.
yep,
All right.
yep.
All right. And so being at Rock Cut and obviously all the things that, we talked about with Mr. Reineke, just about mindfulness and staying calm and cool and especially within a pandemic, right? So as a teacher, let us know a little bit about, how you work through some of the difficulties that have obviously been placed on all of us, right? In this, and then too, how you work with, taking care of yourself, but also too, how you take care of your, your students.
Right. So I guess the biggest thing, of course, it was a total shock, like it definitely changed. I mean, the way that we taught before the pandemic to when we entered this pandemic and, Ola got to do the whole both things at the same time, we were synchronous, we were online and in class. So at first I thought like, this is it, like I'm done for. Like, how am I going to possibly do this? But I think the biggest part, I guess, was somebody once told me, focus on the things you can't change. And I think I tell that to my kids all the time, like there's some things that we just can't have control over, some things that we just aren't going to be able to move to our favor. So all we can do is just accept it, take it as it comes, and roll with it. And I think it's also important that my kids know that, hey, like I'm not perfect, nowhere close. So we're going to make mistakes, you and me, let's do it together, let's roll with it. So, I mean, the biggest part, I guess, was, just focusing on that mindfulness like we're talking about, but letting my kids know that's going to be okay, like we're going to make it through. And I guess the biggest thing that I saw coming was my kids weren't being vocal about it.
Okay.
I think when things come on, we kind of just shut down. We don't want to express it, which is fine, So I definitely had to find different ways to communicate with my kids. I had kids that were online. I had kids that were coming in and out of the classroom. So I think my favorite thing was definitely just check-ins. Like, if it was for my kids that just didn't want to talk about it, we would journal about it. Like, hey,
Awesome.
just write what you're feeling. I'm here for you, And then, of course, we have our other students who are like, I want to tell you everything, And as a teacher, that's such a big part, is just to sit and listen. I know sometimes I want to get going. It's like, wait, buddy, like I got things to do. But then it really does make a difference for a student when you just sit, listen, and they can just really let that out, because that's such a great coping mechanism, just talking it out. And I think that's like the biggest thing that I found, is just to be able to listen, be a good listener,
Right.
So.
And that and what you said was so profound there. Like sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, is just listen, right? Like it just is, because you're just going a mile a minute, but just taking the time to listen specifically to your students and what their needs are.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I really appreciate that. So I'll give you a couple questions. real quick, put you on the spot a little bit here. So being at Reineke, obviously being at faculty meetings, things like that, what is the craziest thing Mr. Ryan Reinecke has done in a faculty meeting?
Oh my gosh, where do we start?
Oh man.
I mean, he really is like so cool, calm, and collected, and then sometimes he comes up with these things where I just stare at him like, what is going through your mind? But he's taking a lot of pride in his "Do you vax, bro?" Like he just talks. I don't know. Did you know about that?
No, I do not know about this.
This man took the time to write a petition, or I don't know, but Urban Dictionary, and tell them like, "Yo, I came up with this. Like, publish it." And sure enough, it's published that he came up with "Do you vax, bro? Are you vax, bro?"
Okay.
So it's his favorite.
So it's a T-shirt. It could be a T-shirt.
I bet he has one. I bet he
one?
has one.
Okay. All right. And so also too now your favorite principal doesn't have to be who you worked for, but your favorite principal.
Am I gonna get in trouble if I don't say?
Nope.
I guess my favorite principal. Oh man. I mean, off the top of my head, I will admit I had a favorite principal growing up, and that was Mr. Coolahan.
Okay.
And that man was such a good listener.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, like he was just really good guy. So if he's out there, I haven't seen him in a really long time.
Awesome.
But yeah.
So if there's anything you want to say to your students, colleagues, any words of wisdom trying to work through this year, anything you want to say?
I still will forever live by the words of not perfect. Like, what was it? Not perfect. Oh man, I forgot it. Brave, not perfect.
Brave, not perfect.
I swear I remember it, but I love that saying
That
because
is awesome.
we're always going to feel like we're doubting ourselves
Right.
and things aren't right, but we're not supposed to be perfect. We're
Yeah.
just supposed to.
I love
wanna do it.
that,
I
right?
do.
Just being brave, and taking chances, and know that you're not going to be perfect.
Right.
That's awesome. Appreciate that. So now we're at that moment of truth for you with the
Man.
ESPN basketball. And the last person made it, so let's see
That's
what
a
you
little
do.
pressure. And I'm a soccer player. I don't know hand-eye
Oh, you
coordination.
got a soccer player right here. I should have brought the
Oh,
soccer
that's
ball.
messy.
That's
Nice.
messy, yeah.
Okay. Oh man. All right.
Oh, that was close though. That was
no.
close. Well, thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being a part of our third episode. It was a pleasure getting to know everyone, and for them to getting to know you. Mindfulness and taking care of yourself is huge, especially with all the stressors that we have that are going on, as trying to navigate a pandemic, in our education, going at school, whether it's our personal lives as well. Just taking care of yourself, I think, is the ultimate message, and showing yourself some grace. So I really appreciated the individuals that were on today to give us that message. So again, I am Harlem, you are Harlem, we are Harlem. Take care, everybody.